Hey everybody, and welcome to Monster Voices. This is the first episode that I'll be posting of Monster Voices. It is a series where I have had the privilege to go out and interview some really cool witnesses. So the first one you're going to see here is one of my favorites. I'm not going to be talking a ton before because it's a pretty good interview. It's with Lynn Hutton. Lynn Hutton is one of my favorite witnesses in this area. He saw a creature with his son years and years and years ago, and his story has never changed. So as we slowly drive down that road, here's the interview that me and Charlie Raymond did with Lynn Hutton. Alright, so when we're doing it, you just kind of look straight ahead here.
Okay, like that?
Yep, about right there.
Okay.
And first what I want you to do is just say your name and spell it for me.
I'm Lynn Hutton, and it's L-Y-N-N and H-U-T-T-O-N.
Okay. And the first thing I want you to do is just kind of give me a complete account of what happened that day. Kind of what you were doing, what brought you out there, and then we can kind of get into the whole what you seen and everything like that.
Okay, well, I decided to take my son deer hunting. He was 8 years old at the time. He'd never been in the woods or whatever, and I wanted to take him and give him some kind of experience of what deer hunting was like. We were bow hunting. I took him out there and we stayed a little while. We never did see anything, and it started getting close to dark, and I told him, I said, we better be getting back to the truck because it's going to get dark on us, and we were quite away from it. And we decided to go on, start walking back, and we started walking back, and he was like to my side or whatever, and out of the bushes, which were really thick and everything, out stepped a Bigfoot. Or I assumed this was a Bigfoot. I've never seen anything like it before. It was almost, I'd say, I guess, about 8 foot tall, big, hairy, and I kind of froze, and we stared at each other for a second, and I grabbed my son, and I tried to push him behind me. Of course, he wanted to see what it was. He kept looking out for the sides and everything to see, and I wasn't supposed to have a gun with me, but I did. I always carry one, and I don't care what. But it was down in my coveralls, and I dropped my bow, and I reached up real quick, and all were still staring at each other, just like in a dead stare. And I unzipped my coveralls and reached down and got my pistol, and I cocked the hammer back on it, and just as I pulled it out, he steps back in the bushes. And we're standing there, and I didn't know what to do. My son, first time in the woods, he'd never found his way back to the truck or nothing. Well, he wouldn't even find his way out of the farm that we were on. It was like a 100-acre farm. And we had to go right beside where that thing came out of the bushes to get back to the truck. And the whole time I kept the gun pointed right where that thing came out. And we never did see it. It didn't come out again right then, but it did. We heard it follow us all the way back to the truck, stepping on sticks and stuff, and but we never saw it again. It stayed completely out of sight.
Okay. If you would, talk a little bit about what it looked like. When it stepped out and you saw it, kind of talk a little bit about what exactly, first thing that caught your eye and things like that. Some things that you really focused in on and noticed.
Well, the main thing I noticed right off the top list was how tall it was. It was massive. It was big, and it had hair that long, just all over it, just from head to foot. It just big long hair. I don't know. You couldn't even hardly see its face. It was like matted down. His face was just covered with it, and it had big long arms, and they just hung way down. And it's just, that's about all I can remember, because every bit of this happened within just seconds. It didn't last very long at all. I'd say all in all 15 seconds, and it was over. That's the last we saw of it. But we did hear it, follow us.
How long do you think it followed you all through the woods?
Oh, it followed us all the way back to the truck. Till we got in the truck and left, we could still hear it coming through the woods.
When it was following you through the woods, did it sound massive? That's kind of what I'm...
Yeah, it did. It did. And I had my gun out the whole time, and I had the hammer cocked the whole time, and I was ready to use it the whole time.
Now, being a man of the outdoors, you hunt, you fish, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen anything like that ever?
No, not ever. And I really don't want to see another one. I mean, if it did, it would just happen. But I wouldn't be looking forward to it.
So, Charlie, if you got questions, you can kind of throw them out there too.
I remember you mentioned it was shocked.
Yeah.
It seemed shocked to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it scared it as bad as it did us. Mm-hmm. I mean, it jerked. I mean, probably no more than I did. Because, when you walk up on something like that big in the woods, and you're not expecting something like that, what are you going to do? You're going to jump. Because it's going to scare you. Because actually, I thought a bear done come out of the woods. And I had no idea. And this thing was standing up that big. And he was from here to those trees. Right there behind us, right there. He was that close.
So it's probably 50 feet.
15, 20 feet, that's what I would say.
Any smells or anything? Did you smell anything?
Did not smell a thing. I don't remember which way the wind was blowing. And, when something like that happens to you, you don't really care. If people always ask me that, did you smell anything? Did you, whatever? And I said, no, because, it scared me so bad, I didn't know. I wouldn't even try to smell anything.
What about, who was the first person you told about this?
First person was my wife that night. And I actually went and talked to the guy that owned the property, and I told him about it, and he just laughed it off. He said, there's somebody dressed up in a monkey suit out there, and I told him, I said, Tommy, there's nobody that tall. And he just laughed it off, and I went by for years, and I didn't tell anybody anything. I didn't mention it to nobody. And one day I was messing around on the internet, and I typed my little story out to that guy that came the first time with Phil, and they filmed it then. And then, of course, Channel 18 came and they did it, and then the History Channel came and they did it, and I forgot one other person. I forgot who they were. They came and did it. They filmed it inside that room up there. And then Channel 18 put it on air again. Then you came and gave me dinner that time. And
so you've become the accidental Bigfoot celebrity.
Yeah, more or less.
What was your car ride with your son like? Can you talk a little bit about when you all were driving back?
Actually, we did not say much of anything on the way home. I don't think I even spoke till I got home and I got in, got my hunting clothes off and everything, and I sat down to the table and told my wife about it. And actually, we weren't even living here in this house at that time. We were in a house in town.
What'd she say?
But she never denied it, I'm sure she didn't think I'd come home and make up some big elaborate story like that anyway, just out of the blue. And I said, even if she did, I said, well, ask him, he saw it too. She just never did deny that I saw it.
You mentioned the hair in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the eyes or the nose or the mouth?
I could see its eyes. I don't remember seeing the mouth. I mean, we were locked each other's eyes, mine on his, and I didn't hardly take my eyes off his, and I know he didn't move his from mine, from my eyesight or whatever. I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to do nothing. I didn't want that thing coming at me. I would have emptied the gun and thrown it at him if nothing else. And the pistol that I had wouldn't have done nothing, probably made it mad anyway.
What caliber were you carrying?
38. On something almost 8 foot tall. I don't know. It might have slowed him down. I'm not saying whether it would have or not. But from now on, whenever I go to the woods, I'll have something bigger than that. I promise you.
What would you say his eyes were like? Like similar to, or?
Black looking. Dark eyes. Best as I can remember, it was dark. They were dark. I don't remember anything else, just black eyes.
Did it look more human or more ape?
It looked about half and half. The features of it and everything looked almost human-like, but it looked like an ape too. It's just a weird looking thing, I'm telling you. Strange looking.
So, when you were going out of the woods, and you knew that it was right there with you, you knew it was right there beside you, did you walk more, kind of checking the woods often, or?
No, we went straight back to the truck. Straight back. I mean, we didn't run, but we got out of there.
As quick as you could?
Yeah.
Now, you had talked about, you were at Taylorsville Lake, or around that area, and you had heard one before. Was that before or after this incident?
This was afterwards. But like I say, I don't know for sure what that was. You know, I just heard that loud yell, scream, whatever you want to call it. It was just weird. I can't even explain that one. Just but I didn't, like I say, I didn't get out of my truck till daylight. I was sitting there smoking a cigarette, waiting for it to get light enough to go to the deer stand, and when it let out that big yell, scream, or whatever, I just stay right there.
You didn't want to take a chance?
No. Like I say, I didn't know what it was, but I didn't want to find out what it was either.
Now, since people have seen you on TV and things like that, has others from this area, this county, came forward and talked to you about them seeing anything or them having anything happen?
A couple of people have told me different tales. I did not spread the word or anything like that, tell who they were or whatever, because I respect their privacy or whatever. I've had, let me see if I can think right, I've had I've had 3 people tell me about their encounters.
Similar to yours?
A little further away, distance-wise or whatever. One person said, I thought this was really kind of funny, because one person, they had several people out there, and they thought one of them was trying to scare the others. And these girls were looking in the woods and just saying, there he is over there, he's trying to scare us and everything like that. And then about that time, the guy walks up behind them and says, who's trying to scare you? You know, they weren't, you know, they saw something in the woods but didn't know what it was, and then they thought the guy that was trying to scare them, he come up behind them. Wasn't him.
Is there anything about your story that, just thinking about, that maybe you've never really put out there, or never really, the stuff you've talked, maybe thought about after an interview and said, I wish I'd told him that?
No, the only time I did that, when Phil was here the first time, the only thing I forgot to tell Phil was about it following us. I did not mention that, I don't believe, to Phil. I did to the History Channel when they were here. But after Phil left, I wished I'd have told him that. But also, you got to remember, this was like almost 40 years ago too. This has been going on a long time. But it's something I'll never forget. I mean, never forget.
Do you and your son ever talk about it?
Just on occasion, I'll just say I tried to get him to do this little thing too, but he didn't really want to. He's very private. He doesn't like to be bothered, He was just afraid that somebody would start bugging him, He just didn't want to. I'll mention it to him every now and then, and he'll just say, yeah, I know, we saw it.
Anything else you got, Charlie, you can think of?
No, not really.
Easy enough. Thanks for watching this episode of Monster Voices. Drop some comments below. Let me know what you think about the story. Let me know what you would like to see this content become. I want it to be a place where witnesses can give their story. I've had some mailed in. I will be reading those personally because they have chosen not to appear on camera. They have chosen not to record a video, and that's okay. But those will be coming as well. So if you've had an experience, please send it to me, monsterbaittv@gmail.com. I'd be happy to share it with people. I want to be a voice for the voiceless. Now, if you don't want your name or anybody mentioned in the story, you don't want the real names out there, then please tell me that in the email where I can change the names and things to protect the innocent. So here we go, guys. I'm glad I could do this. I really want to be a voice for the voiceless. Thank you for watching. And remember, the monsters are not just under your bed or in your head. They're everywhere.